Welcome to this power session of Everyone Print HCP, which is a solution that works perfectly well with the HP WorkPath platform. Let me start with something else than just the technology. Let me start with the market. So the market right now is moving heavily towards cloud, and the pandemic have really helped that movement even more. So CIOs and businesses have really seen the need for being agile to adopt the new normal. They really need to be flexible in order to scale up and down. And of course, security is really a topic of mind for all major businesses. And not the least, cost effectiveness is also something that needs to be taken into consideration with the new market normal we have of today. This session will be around how you can tap into this very, very exciting market. And as you can see, there are great companies who really have benefited inside IT around the pandemic. So what can you utilize HCP for? Well, you can actually utilize it to get in touch with your clients in a whole new way. It's really a true business enabler that will allow you to go and discuss with CIOs, CFOs, IT architects, IT managers, even help desk managers, and articulate that you have something which is quite different from your competition. Alongside that, all their customers, which are the employees of the businesses, will also benefit from HCP. So a lot of value and a very strong business case will in conjunction make you able to make pretty fast business selling cycles with your clients. So what is the print pains that customers actually want you to address? Well, most clients are experiencing having a multi-vendor fleet. Multi-vendor fleets give you a lot of different print pains. You will have multiple drivers to maintain, update. You will have different servers, needs to patching, security around that, all the maintenance and housekeeping. And one of the biggest print pains for customers actually is that we don't have any standards inside this industry. So the way that we understand a print job inside HP is different from how Canon would handle a print job. And that comes down to basic stuff just like tray selections. Trays and how we call trays are different from HP to Canon or Konica. Duplex commands, booklet commands, all that will be a little bit different from vendor to vendor, and that makes print actually not as simple as it should be for you and clients. And of course, there is a lot of TCOs around all that distributed environments that we're having with all the servers and all those drivers deployed. So what is HCP actually? Well, it's a cloud-based infrastructure optimization solution. It optimizes your print infrastructure out of two perspectives. First, we will handle all the infrastructure that we can actually decommission. That means all the servers, all the drivers, all the funnel queues, that can be streamlined heavily. And on the other side, we've also optimized how we handle and treat print. So we wanted to make the best print application for your clients. And to do that, we needed to make print simple, scalable, and secure. And to do that, we needed to get out of the constraints that everybody has been struggling upon for the last 2 decades. That has been accomplished by HCP. So we are able to make a very simple and agile interface for print, which will also reduce the load on helpdesk, why you can call it helpdesk manager for cold calling, but it's also handling all the security aspects of print. So I would like to spend just 2 minutes on showing you what is the true architecture behind a traditional pull print solution that customers typically tap into because they've been told it's simple, it's agile, you can have just a print to a funnel queue and you can batch in wherever you go and retrieve your print job. And on top of that, you will typically maybe save 15-20%. That is actually not true. These simple traditional on-prem solutions actually looks like this. Multiple drivers needs to be handled because you would need to have specific drivers for specific vendors. And you will also need to use the right pull queue because if you sit with a Xerox device and you use the Xerox driver, you need to do the release on the Xerox pull queue because that will control all the jobs. already rendered for Xerox. But if that device is out of service, well, then you turn to HP device, for example. That device will not understand that print job which has been rendered for Xerox because of trace, duplicate commands, whatever. So it's not simple, it's not agile, and it is certainly not cost effective because you will need to spin up at least one extra server next to the ones you already have. And a server TCO over 4 or 5 years would be $20,000 to $25,000. So what is the alternative? Well, the alternative is a cloud solution that really addresses this. Just one cloud service, one global pull queue, and a full-featured single driver. And on top of that, we also bundle our mobile print solution. So you have mobile mobility, you have guest printing incorporated. But clients today actually want true cloud. And true cloud is not really possible because you need to secure your print devices towards the cloud to have it 100% secure. You actually have a benefit here from HP because you can go to your clients and say, well, Mr. Customer, if you want a true cloud solution, all you need is a laptop, a public internet connection, and an HP WorkPath device. Because with that in hand, you can actually decommission all your servers and your drivers, and you don't need to have anything else in your infrastructure but the HP device, which is very unique. And that's why you have an argument over any competition also on your hardware, utilizing HP WorkPath in your platform. So instead of having a customer that looks like this, and this is a live slide from a client, they would actually look like that in a future scenario where they have just utilized one full-featured single driver that goes for all makes and models. They utilize the cloud service and just one global pull queue, regardless of what device. In the end, they will retrieve the job from. So this will enable you to decommission servers and drivers and queues, and you will also tap into a very, very unchallenged IT spend, which will heavily give you an advantage over your competition. So what is that possibilities we're tapping into? Well, you will be able to shine and be perceived as a better business advisor. This will be actually the live case from this architecture on a client. I demonstrated on the very first meeting what would be the true TCO if they were about to go into HCP. I knew on beforehand they had 3 servers, a print server, a pull print server for one vendor, and a mobile print solution. They would spend around $900 a month on these 3 servers, but if they wanted to have follow me on the rest of the devices, they would need another server, meaning they would have a cost of $1,200 or over a 5-year period, 75,000 euros or dollars. That is the IT spend that none of your colleagues and competitors ever talk about. So when you promote this client with your solution that brings them just one print interface, simplicity, they have everything handled from remote at a cost of 76,000 euros or dollars, that would actually be quite powerful. And just to show them what is the true cost here against competition, well, we actually made that same comparison at that meeting and showed them if you go traditional, it would cost you around 40,000 euros or dollars more over a 5-year period. So the savings would be 35%, and on top of that you get a lot of benefits. And that really showed the client that this is truly unique, and they instantly off-tabled competition and said they wanted the POC and they wanted actually to just go into production if we could prove ourselves right that we could do single driver management for all vendors, and they didn't have to handle that in future. So by that, I hope it gave you a little bit of flavor of what is HCP, what can it be used for. My colleague Jason will give you a pitch on how does it actually look like. Thanks a lot for listening, and please reach out for us to have any kind of support for sales or pre-sales. If you would like to have us part of one of your first meetings, we are more than obliged to actually go in and support you. Thanks.
Everyone Print HCP provides an online portal to access all of your print infrastructure in one location. Once you log in, you have a dashboard that shows some recent print activity inside of the console. Also, on the left-hand side, you have a tree view that displays your entire print setup. as well as the ability to organize folders into other print queues. If, however, you'd like to manage all of your printers at once, you come under the Printers section, and you can change some of the settings for any printer that is currently active in the system. For example, we'd like to change the downtown HR printer's IP address because we have recently acquired a new device. We'll change the IP address from a .97 to a .125. And then when we click Save, all users who are currently connected to the system automatically have access to print to the new printer's IP address without having to update anything on their computer. Additionally, IT does not need to reach out to the user and change anything on their PC. Also, we can add new printers using a similar method. So if we'd like to add a new printer to the North Office location, we can select that folder to add it. And then we would simply add in the new printer. We give it a name, such as an IT printer, and then supply the IP address for the printer itself. Additionally, we can select the vendor from the drop-down list, which will determine what software information to send to the printer. This replaces the print driver in a traditional setup. By selecting HP from this vendor drop-down, when I send a print job to this printer, it will now use the HP formatted data in order to finish options such as staple or hole punch. Simply change to a different vendor if you have a swap out of devices, or if you need to update the device. When you click Save, the printer is automatically added into the system. You can go back and edit the printer and change some settings, such as adding an embedded platform to it, or again, changing the manufacturer. We can then set additional options inside of here in order to deploy embedded clients onto the printer. We click Save, and the settings are updated automatically for all users connected to the system. Users will connect into the system with a PC client that is installed on both Windows and Mac. This client can simply be installed by double-clicking the executable and filling in the information. We can also push this client out through a variety of applications such as Microsoft Intune for Windows or Jamf for Mac. We can also supply a script file that informs the installer of all of the proper settings to use. Once the installer is finished, the icon will sit in the system tray for the user. This can automatically synchronize with the logged-in user into Windows, or we can manually log in with a new user account. This is good, especially for bring your own device environments. If I bring up my printers list in the background, you'll notice I only have a couple of printers currently active. However, once I log into the PC client, the client will reach up to the cloud and it'll recognize all the printers off in the print infrastructure and automatically add them for me. These printers will be added in based on who I am, as well as some other options such as where I am. So, for instance, you'll notice that the North Office printers do not get added. That's because I'm not currently in the same network as the North Office printers are specified as. Once I do enter that building and I am on the proper network, those printers will be added, and some of these other printers that are unique to another office location will be removed. This PC client also includes the Everyone Print single function driver. So when a user attempts to print a document, they will have a list of preferences that will be familiar to them and same across all manufacturers and models of printer. This is where the users can select their finishing options such as booklet printing or stapling, as well as some paper and quality options such as the media type and the tray selection. When a user selects these, it won't matter what the output device is, as the Everyone Print Cloud server will send the information down to the user's computer that is specific for the printer model and manufacturer that they are outputting. This means that the user will always have a similar experience across all manufacturers, whether they're doing direct printing, where the print job comes out immediately at the printer, or whether they're using a pull printing process, where the user has to walk up to the manufacturer's panel and then enter in a PIN code, a username and password, or a card swipe. Once all the print data is sent in, the admin can easily review some of the settings and some of the quantities in the dashboard.